Faith shapes how we live, and it should shape how we steward our money. That's why 316 Financial exists. We're a digital bank helping people align their finances with their faith and values. At 316 Financial, 10% of our profits are given back to faith-based ministries, showing that everyday banking can be a way to live generously. With no monthly fees, free nationwide ATM access, and competitive interest rates, you don't have to sacrifice quality to bank with purpose. Learn more at bank316.com. Banking services provided by 316 Financial, a division of Primis Bank, member FDIC.
Life Audio.
Welcome to the Untangling Prayer Podcast. I'm Rachel Wojo, and each week we unravel life's knots through prayer. Here you'll find practical wisdom and prayer encouragement to guide you through life's hardest seasons. Join me as we untangle life's messes together, one prayer at a time. Welcome to the Untangling Prayer Podcast. I'm Rachel, and I'm so glad you have joined me today. Can I ask you something before we dive in? How long have you been waiting? Maybe you know exactly how long, down to the month or the week or the day or even the hour, because that's what waiting does. It makes us very, very aware of time, whether it's waiting for a job or a diagnosis or a prodigal to come home, a relationship to heal. Maybe you've been praying a prayer for years. And if you're in a season of waiting on God right now, this episode is for you. We're anchoring in Psalm 27:14, just one verse, but don't let that fool you. It's packed. Wait for the Lord, be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. There is so much in those few words. Let's dig in together. But before we jump into today's content, I want to make sure you know about my book, Desperate Prayers, Embracing the Power of Prayer in Life's Darkest Moments. If you're in a season of waiting and wondering if God hears you, this book was written for you. It's full of honest, real stories of prayers that felt unanswered for a long time and of a God who was working the whole time. You can grab your copy at DesperatePrayers.com or wherever you buy books. I'll drop the link in the show notes. And now, this week's question from a hard space. This is the segment where I tackle the real, honest questions about prayer that you send in. And today's question came in, how do I keep praying when I've been waiting for years and nothing has changed? Oh, friend, I hear you. If no one has said it yet, it's not a failure of faith. Showing up to a God who has answered the way you expected is actually what Psalm 27:14 is about. David didn't write it from a place of comfort. David knew what it was like to wait. He had been anointed king as a teenager, but he didn't sit on the throne for years. He spent a lot of seasons hiding in caves, running from people who wanted him dead, and crying out to a God who seemed to be taking his good old time. And out of that comes this verse, wait for the Lord, be strong and take heart, wait for the Lord. I want you to notice two things. He says, wait for the Lord twice. That's not an accident. I believe God knew we would need the reminder. It's like he's saying, no, seriously, keep waiting. And then he says, be strong and take heart, which means to me that waiting isn't passive. It takes strength. It takes courage. The waiting itself is an act of faith. So if you've been praying the same prayer for a year or 5 years or 20, you are not doing it wrong. You're doing the holy work of trusting a God whose timing is not our timing. And hear me out. The fact that you're still praying, that you're still here, still asking, still showing up, that's not desperation. It's perseverance, and God honors that. Thank you so much for listening to this segment of Questions in Hard Spaces. We'll be right back after this word from our sponsors.
It started with a knock at the door of a small clinic. A grandmother stood there holding her grandson. He was burning with fever. The nearest hospital was hours away, and she had no way to get there. Through This Moment Matters, a ministry of Global Ministries and UMCOR, that clinic had medicine. It had trained staff. it had hope. The boy received treatment that day. The grandmother left with tears in her eyes and relief in her heart. This is what happens when the church refuses to look away, when we decide that every life carries sacred worth. Your gift today helps strengthen health systems, support migrants, fight hunger, and build peace in communities under strain. Visit giveumcmission.org/future and be part of the story God is still writing, because this moment matters.
Thank you for allowing that word from our sponsors. And now I'm diving into the segment we call Pray More, Worry Less, Encouragement. This is the segment where we focus on one prayer principle to help you pray more and worry less. And today's principle is waiting on God is not wasted time. Our culture is really terrible at waiting. We have one-day shipping and instant streaming, and we get annoyed when a web page takes more than 3 seconds to load. And we bring that same kind of energy to prayer and wonder why waiting on God feels so unbearable. Psalm 27:14 reframes this. Be strong and take heart. Those are fighting words, active words. This is not sit on your couch and stew. This is stand firm and hold on. Here's what I want you to sit with today. 3 things Psalm 27:14 is actually teaching us about the waiting room. Number 1, waiting on God is directional. It's waiting for Him, not just waiting. There's a difference between waiting in dread and waiting in expectation. David says, wait for the Lord, not wait for your circumstances to change, not wait for someone to come through for you, or wait for things to make sense. Wait for the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him in the waiting. Trust Him, and that will change how the waiting feels. Number 2, waiting requires strength, and we have to rely on God to supply that. David doesn't say feel strong. He says be strong. God is commanding us to be strong in the waiting because He is the one who provides that strength. Isaiah 40:31 says, those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength. The waiting and the strength are connected. You don't have to come up with it on your own. You receive it as you wait. Waiting is not the end of the story. Take heart, literally take courage. That phrase implies there's something worth being courageous for. There's something ahead. The waiting is not the destination. God is working in what you can't even see right now. And He was working in David's case. He's working in yours. So today, whatever you're waiting for, I want to invite you to pray Psalm 27:14 back to God. Literally, just that verse. Lord, I'm choosing to wait for you. Help me be strong. Help me take heart. I'm waiting for you, not just for my answer. This is a powerful prayer. For our final segment, I want to share something personal because sometimes what we need most in the waiting is evidence that God still shows up, even after a very, very long time. And last Friday, at the end of the workday, I received an email. Kind of had been waiting for it through the week, but when I opened it, it was the answer to a prayer I've been praying for 16 years. I want you to let that sink in, because some of you are doing the math on your own prayers right now. And I can't share all the details. And honestly, that's okay, because I don't think the details are actually the point. What I can tell you is this. Over the course of those 16 years, there have been many moments where I thought, okay, maybe this is it. Maybe this is where God's opening the door. Maybe the wait is finally over. And then it wasn't. The answer wasn't there. I had to pick myself back up and keep trusting. And can I be honest? Those almost moments are sometimes harder than the waiting itself, because you have your hopes up. You think the door's about to swing open, and then it closes again. And you're left standing there and you're going, God, what are you doing? And last Friday, that email came. It wasn't just an answer. It was like a window opening up on everything God has been doing. So much of what He's been working in my life in ways I couldn't see while I was in the middle of it. It suddenly made a lot of sense. And I've been thinking about it almost every day since. And what I keep coming back to is that the waiting was not wasted. Those 16 years weren't God forgetting about me or being slow or not listening. When I look back, the waiting was about going deeper in my relationship with him, learning how to trust him in ways I never would have if he'd just answered quickly. And the wait grew something in me that the answer alone never could have. That's Psalm 27:14 lived out. Be strong and take heart. I didn't always feel strong, but God was faithful in the waiting. And friend, he is faithful in yours too. If you're going through a hard season of waiting right now and you need something to hold on to, my book, Desperate Prayers, was written for exactly this reason. It's full of stories from the Bible and real people of prayers that seemed unanswered for a long, long time and of a God who is working the whole time. You can grab your copy at desperateprayers.com or wherever you buy books. Thank you so much for joining me today. I pray this has been a blessing in your life. And until next time, remember, God sees you and knows your need. Thanks for joining me on the Untangling Prayer podcast. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who could use a little hope. And be sure to subscribe for more. Until next time, keep seeking, keep trusting, and keep praying.
What do you do when the world around you is falling apart? It's amazing to me how many people are breathing air. They're going about their business and doing the things you're supposed to do. But if you really ask them, they know that on the inside, they are spiritually and emotionally and relationally dead. If we're not careful, all of us can experience that death. When what we need to do, even as the world around us is falling apart, we need to learn how to march when it would be easier to stay where we are and die. Join me each week on the March or Die Show as we discuss that and so much more.